Simon was tired. He had been out on the water all night with his friends James and John. They had thrown their nets into the lake again and again, hoping to catch fish. But every time they pulled the nets back up, they were empty, not even one small fish. As the sun began to rise, they rowed back to shore. There was nothing left to do but wash the nets and go home to sleep. It had been a long, hard night with nothing to show for it. While Simon was cleaning his nets on the shore, a crowd of people began to gather nearby. They had come to hear a man named Jesus speak. The crowd kept pressing closer and closer, trying to hear every word. Jesus looked around and noticed two boats sitting at the edge of the water. He walked over to Simon's boat and asked if he could sit in it. He wanted Simon to push the boat out just a little from the shore so he could speak to the crowd from the water. Simon agreed. He pushed the boat out a little, and Jesus sat down and taught the people from the boat while Simon waited quietly. When Jesus finished speaking, he turned to Simon and said something that must have sounded very strange. "Push the boat out further into the deep water, then put your nets down for a catch." Simon looked at him. He was a fisherman. He had grown up on this lake. He knew these waters better than almost anyone, and he knew that you did not catch fish in the middle of the day. Fish were caught at night in the shallow parts of the water, not out in the deep when the sun was already up. He had already tried all night. The nets had come up empty every single time. But Simon did not argue. He did not walk away. He looked at Jesus and said something that changed everything. "Master, we worked all night and caught nothing, but if you say so, I will put the nets down." Just that. No big speech, no questions, just a tired fisherman choosing to trust. So they pushed out into the deep water. The lake was calm and quiet. Simon dropped the nets over the side and watched them sink slowly into the dark water below. Then something happened. The net pulled tight. Simon grabbed the rope and felt the weight of it, a weight like he had never felt before. He pulled, but it was too heavy. He called out to James and John in the other boat. "Come and help us, hurry!" They rowed over as fast as they could. All of them grabbed the nets and began to pull. The water churned and splashed. Fish, so many fish, began to come up, silver bodies flashing in the morning light. The net was so full it started to tear. They poured the fish into the boats, handful after handful, and still they kept coming. Both boats were now so full of fish that they sat low in the water. The sides were nearly touching the surface of the lake. The men looked at each other in shock. This was not normal. This was not something that just happened. In all their years on the water, they had never seen anything like this. Simon looked at the fish, then looked at Jesus, and something happened inside him. He fell down on his knees right there in the boat, among all those flapping, shining fish, and he said, "Lord, go away from me. I am a sinful man." He was not afraid of the fish, or the water, or the heavy nets. He was suddenly very aware of who Jesus was, and who he himself was. Standing next to someone so good, so powerful, so different from anything he had ever known, made Simon feel small. Not small in a crushing way, but small in the way you feel when you finally see how big the sky really is. Jesus looked at him gently and said, "Do not be afraid. From now on, you will fish for people." When they got back to shore and pulled the boats up, Simon, James, and John left everything right there. The boats, the nets, the biggest catch of their lives. They left it all and followed Jesus.
Luke 5, verses 4 through 7. When he had stopped speaking, he said to Simon, "Launch out into the deep and let down your nets for a catch." But Simon answered and said to him, "Master, we have toiled all night and caught nothing. Nevertheless, at your word, I will let down the net." And when they had done this, they caught a great number of fish, and their net was breaking. So they signaled to their partners in the other boat to come and help them. And they came and filled both the boats, so that they began to sink.